despite there being no laws that forbid face covering in public, except where a temporary exclusion zone has been authorised.
I checked with a solicitor before I came out in public with a mask on. I'm not breaking the law. Am I obliged to? Am I obliged to? If I'm obliged to and you can tell me what law I'm breaking, I'll take it off.
Just take your mask off and let me first.
No.
What's your name, buddy?
Some details.
I'm not obliged to give you my name.
I was going to run this out, yeah?
You're not being detained, do what you want.
Yeah, of course I
You're alright, mate?
Still polite to ask you to speak.
Am I obliged to give you my name?
Yeah, you are, mate.
That's assault and false imprisonment right there. The moment she told this individual he was obliged to give his details, she unlawfully detained him under implied threat of force. For just this few seconds of illegality, this person could sue the force for £500, as false imprisonment begins at £500 for any part of the first hour.
Under what law?
Okay. What's your name,
Under
pal?
what law?
It's an offence to not give you your
Under
details.
what law?
I know your video, mate.
Good. I don't want a secret. If you tell me which law says I have to show you my face and which law says I have to give my name, I happily will. I'm not being disrespectful, I just know my rights and I know I'm not breaking the law. No, I'm not.
I love the way this officer uses her notebook as a prop. She tries not to look mugged off by a teenager. The police are so used to people doing what they're told, it comes as a complete shock to them when someone rightfully disobeys.
Right, I'll start.
Take your number please, 0218 449.
I'm not saying it's happening.
You're not obliged, none of us are obliged to give details. We're not committing a crime, we're not acting in an antisocial manner, we're not obliged to tell you anything. Do we need a reason?
Tonight's encounter starts instantly with tension. A masked teenager calmly refuses police demands and asks the one question officers rarely expect. What law am I breaking? What begins as a routine stop quickly turns into a legal chess match. The officers push for compliance, but confidence and knowledge shift the atmosphere immediately. From the first seconds, it's clear this interaction won't go the way police anticipated.
Officer.
I'm just asking you what, if there is a reason.
I'm politely declining to answer any questions.
Religion? Right. No. Is it your religion?
I was politely declining to answer any questions, officer.
Right. The reason I'm asking you to remove it is because we've had a couple of robberies in the street around here quite recently, okay? And when we can't see people's faces, it's very difficult to determine who they are, okay? I've never met you before.
Are you stopping Muslim women and asking them to take the face coverings off?
That's for religious purposes. I've just asked you whether
the purpose is irrelevant if people are getting robbed.
Well, it's not.
I could quite easily put a burqa on and rob somebody.
I'm not getting into an argument with you.
Okay.
You've asked me to explain why I've stopped you, okay? I'm not saying you've
Regardless
done anything wrong.
of your
I'm simply
personal...
just asking you
What, go on?
to give me your details.
I'm not obliged to tell you my details.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just asking you politely.
Well, I'm politely refusing, as it's not a criminal offence to... Am I being detained?
No.
Am I being arrested?
No, it's
Then I'm free to go. Bye.
Textbook civil disobedience.
Have a
There's
nice
nothing
day.
more satisfying than seeing two jobs worths having their asses handed back to them, as this video also depicts.
Right.
That's why you're filming the police station.
I'm filming the police cars going in and out.
Why is that?
I'm just doing a story, that's all.
Can I take your details?
Am I obliged to?
Well, obviously with the current climate and you're
No.
acting...
The officers attempt to justify their actions using recent crimes in the area, but suspicion alone isn't enough. The teenager stays calm, repeating his rights without raising his voice. The conversation transforms into a debate about obligation versus choice. When he confirms he's not detained and walks away freely, the balance of control visibly changes.
It's a bit strange you filming the police station.
No, I just told you what I'm doing. Photography's not a crime. I'm sat here, I'm waiting to get some pictures of a police car going in and out of the police station to finish off a story that I've been working on.
Yeah, which...
So I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken any laws.
I'm unsure, so why you said you're doing a story, do you work for the news or something?
No, just independent, just for myself.
Independent, do you work for, are you a journalist or?
No, I'm just working on a story for myself for my YouTube channel.
Okay, so you're a blogger, you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you need to get a picture of the police car. Do you mind not putting that in my face?
Well, it's not in your face, and you came up to me, so.
Yeah, because you're filming the police station.
Well, that's not against the law, though, is it?
No, but it's suspicious, strange behaviour.
It is quite suspicious.
No, I don't think it is. And terrorism or current climate has nothing to do with it. Terrorism in Waterlooville, I don't think so.
It's odd that the police assume the worst from the most innocuous actions of the public, especially when you consider that we're at greater risk of them than they are of us. Statistics taken from the Police Roll of Honour Trust, a website which catalogues all serving police officers' deaths, show that the police are actually at greater risk from dying at their desks from poor health than they are from encountering violent crime on the streets. Over a 7-year period, 6 officers have died from heart attacks, whereas only 3 officers have been unlawfully killed on frontline duty.
A second encounter begins outside a police station, where filming alone attracts attention. Officers describe the behavior as suspicious, despite no laws being broken. The cameraman calmly explains his purpose, refusing to be intimidated by implication alone. What seems like a simple conversation slowly builds into another confrontation over public freedoms.
Over the same time frame, 107 members of the public have died in police custody, and the number of prosecutions against the police as a result? 0.
I've just spoken to my sergeant as well.
Yeah.
Under the Terrorism Act, with the current climate is severe and the way you're acting, I will need your details. No. So please provide me your details.
I'm not obliged to give you my details because I haven't broken the law.
Recording equipment if you are filming the police station under the current climate severe. Okay.
That's not. It's not. That's
anyone watching your videos.
You can't seize my equipment.
Anyone watching your videos that you are currently, say, you're live streaming.
Yeah.
Will probably agree that under terrorism at the moment, with the risk as it is.
Well, this is live streaming because if you take my phone, it's not on my phone.
I'm explaining to you. Yeah, I'm explaining to you the reasons why I'm speaking to you, and all I am requesting for is your details. I'm not going to.
I'm not obliged to get. I've not broken no laws.
If you don't give us your details, it gives us grounds to arrest.
I don't know what version of the Terrorism Act she's referring to, probably the one she's just made up, but refusal to give details is not grounds for arrest within the Terrorism Act. Their powers of arrest can only be used when they reasonably suspect somebody to be a terrorist.
We've explained to you the reason we require your details. You can either give us
In fact, I've actually got written permission to sit here and do this.
Right, well, why didn't you tell us that? Can you show us that, please?
Where's your written permission?
What this guy pulls out now is an all forces memo issued.
The situation escalates sharply when terrorism powers are mentioned. The tone shifts from questioning to implied authority, raising the stakes instantly. The cameraman demands legal clarity, exposing uncertainty in the officer's explanation. When written authorization is introduced, momentum swings, and the encounter begins slipping out of police control.
Namely, there are no powers prohibiting the taking of photographs, film or digital images in a public place. Therefore, members of the public and press should not be prevented from doing so. And, once an image has been recorded, the police have no power to delete or confiscate it without a court order. The fact this memo was issued in 2010 shows just how slow on the uptake police officers are. This memo is a trump card in neutralising petty-minded cops, so I've provided a link in the description where you can download it in full.
To finish off the end of my vlog.
That's not a public place.
Station. A police station is not a public place.
Well, it's still paid for by the public, isn't it?
It's not a public place though. Under the
well, where I am is a public place.
You're right there.
And I'm allowed to film anything I can see from a public place.
Within reason, but if your actions go beyond that and are suspicious...
Well, my actions aren't gone beyond that. I've told you exactly what I'm doing. It's to finish off the end of my social experiment vlog that I was making.
Well, you're still filming now, so it's...
I'm filming now for my own protection.
Protection from what?
From you. You're standing there threatening to arrest me under terrorism.
No, I'm asking for your name and details.
Which I'm not obliged to give you unless I've been arrested for a crime.
I don't feel like we've given you any cause for concern about our behaviour.
Well, he's threatening to arrest me under the Terrorism Act, which you couldn't even quote to me.
He's not threatening
I'm not going to quote every part of the law.
You can see how the police abuse their special power.
Argument centers on whether a police station can be filmed from public space. Officers attempt to redefine boundaries, while the cameraman calmly dismantles each claim with logic. The exchange becomes less about suspicion and more about understanding the law itself. Viewers can feel frustration growing as authority meets resistance grounded in knowledge.
Powers of being stupid to confound even the most straightforward of definitions. They can't even understand the difference between the private inside of a building and the public outside. Is something that would put a 3-year-old to shame.
But it's not a public place.
Yeah, but if someone wants to stand outside my house in the public and film it, they're allowed to do that by law.
No,
there is no law that's... No, there's no law. No, there's not.
Right.
No, there's not. That's mine, thank you.
You wait for me a second.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's fine if you want to get going.
I'll ask if there's permission from one of the bosses in there.
I don't need permission to film the police station from a public space.
As I said, my suspicions are about your behaviour. It's all very strange.
What's suspicious about my behaviour? Do you think I'm a terrorist?
You'd think at this point these clowns would accept defeat, knowing they've encountered that rare member of the public that won't surrender their rights upon demand. Instead, they persist with this illegal stop simply to save face. The general rule of the police being to never leave the scene of an incident without appearing to have enforced the law.
When I approached you to engage in a conversation and you were quite defensive.
I actually didn't want a conversation. If you had just gone into the police station, I would have left because I got the footage that I wanted.
Yeah, but you can understand that obviously, given the fact that you're sat here filming a police station, it's quite concerning for us.
Why?
For officer safety.
What am I going to do? What officer safety?
Publish a video showing the registration plate of police cars in a police station.
They're in public all day, every single day. Police cars. There's no privacy in public. That's why there's CCTV cameras, millions of them all around the country. So I don't think your colleague really should stand there and threaten to take away my camera equipment.
Tension rises as officers discuss possible seizure of recording equipment. Anticipating this, the cameraman reveals he's live streaming, ensuring footage cannot disappear. This strategic move changes everything, removing pressure and shifting confidence back toward the filmer. The interaction now feels like a standoff where preparation outweighs intimidation.
Off of your camera?
Actually, you can get a copy of the police's body-worn video, as it constitutes personal data under the Data Protection Act. All you need to obtain it is to send a subject access request and a £10 statutory fee, and they have to send you a full, unedited version of it, something I'd encourage anyone who's unlawfully stopped by the police to do.
But your colleague was trying to intimidate me into giving up my details with the threat of arrest under the Terrorism Act and trying to intimidate me.
Not giving their details is a necessity that we can use for an arrest.
By making me think he's going to take away my camera equipment.
He didn't say that it was a threat that he was going to arrest you at all.
So please provide me your details.
I'm not obliged to give you my details because... Am I being detained?
Sorry?
Am I being detained?
No, it's merely a stop.
Okay.
I mean, if you do leave, obviously we do have powers.
Are you going to use those powers if I leave then? Because you just said...
The discussion turns toward accountability and evidence rights, exposing cracks in the officer's position. Calm questioning continues while answers become increasingly vague. Each exchange highlights the difference between authority assumed and authority justified. The encounter begins to resemble negotiation rather than enforcement.
To go.
You're not being detained.
So am I free to go?
And by all means, if you do leave, it does mean that we would be able to use powers to arrest you on the grounds of suspicion of an offence.
I don't know what this woman's problem is, that she thinks she can place someone under quasi-arrest, but the implication is clear. If the cameraman leaves, he could be physically stopped. That is assault and false imprisonment, and just like the last video, I'd be suing the police for a minimum of £500.
Are you detaining me here?
I'm not detaining you.
Right, so am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Am I free to leave?
I would suggest you didn't leave.
Why?
I would suggest that you didn't leave.
Why?
I have answered your question. What you do next is up to you.
Well, I know what next is up to me, but you just said I'm not being detained, so therefore I'm free to leave because I've broken no laws. So are you going to arrest me if I leave?
I can't say whether that's going to happen or not. I've asked you to wait until my colleague comes back from speaking to my sergeant. It's obviously the next move is yours. I've asked you to wait.
Okay, I don't want to wait. I'm going to leave and I'm going to go home. Okay?
Luckily, this guy escaped any further obstruction from Dumb and Dumber, but if he hadn't been recording, the chances are he would probably...
The final moments deliver peak suspense, Officers insist he isn't detained, yet warn arrest could follow if he leaves. The contradiction hangs in the air as the cameraman makes his decision. Choosing to walk away tests whether words match actions. When nothing happens, the encounter ends quietly, but the questions it raises linger long after the camera stops.